Good evening and welcome to the Dumfries Icebowl. We are here for the Scottish Curling Junior Mixed Doubles Championships. My name is Owen McCrossan. I'm delighted to be rejoined on commentary by David Ramsey. How was your little break, David?
Very nice break. Got the head down.
Yes.
Refreshed.
Good.
Ready to go.
Good. I'm glad. So this evening we are covering the game between Duncan McFadden and Leanne Mackenzie against Adam, Karen and Molly Keane. What are your thoughts on this game?
Again, interesting lineups. Duncan and Leanne are out pretty well, both from Perth, both involved in World Juniors this year, which was great to see. And then we've got Adam and Molly. Molly, a big part of Amy Bryce's team, and Adam new in the squad this year, so they've played a bit though. They've played some mix together. So and Duncan hasn't played a lot of mix, so we'll see how Duncan and Leanne get on. Yeah,
they did admit that they didn't have much experience. I talked to both teams before the game just to see how they were feeling. They did play the junior mixed doubles together last year, but they admitted that was pretty much the only thing that they'd done mixed doubles wise. Adam and Molly, though, similarly haven't had that much experience really either. We see that Leanne Mackenzie is going to start off, so Karen and Keane have won the hammer. They had two pretty good draw shots that we saw. I think Adam put it on the button and Molly put it on the tee line, just over curved the side of the four. So
I wasn't with you the first game on this sheet. So does this ice look similar to the sheet?
It is similar. It's the same curl that we were used to, that we did see, but it does seem to really move, particularly on one side.
Yeah. Right. Speaking to Ryan after the previous game, they really struggled.
Yeah,
they had a real big swing off one side, and they never got to grips with it, and they kind of lost their confidence a bit.
Yep.
So they had a poor game and disappointing, but they'll move on. So let's see these two teams handle it now.
Absolutely. So I think both teams were aware of the inexperience factor. They said the thing they found really challenging was the tactics and the defensive stuff, and we've talked about that before. It is the common thread.
Yeah, we had Ewan in speaking about it, and he thinks it's really tough to be defensive. You know, and being defensive means putting plenty of stones in the forefoot to him.
Yeah.
And he's maybe right, because it's so late in the end before you can actually hit anything.
Absolutely. See here that Adam is playing in the button position, as I refer to it. And it'll be interesting to see this matchup, see if it is more effective.
Maybe they'll change. Maybe they're experimenting.
We did see that in the last end, which was good. It was one of the first times that we really seen it.
Ryan and Kirsty swapped about a lot, didn't they?
Yes, as did Hamish and Katie. So something that the players are experimenting with. As we say, they don't play this format very often, so to have the chance to do it is probably great for them. Again, just a bit heavy. I think that maybe with Duncan and Leanne having had that first practice, it is just that little bit of a difference. Do you want to just talk about a little bit about how the ice changes, especially at the beginning of the game?
Well, obviously when you go into fresh pebble and you break that down a little bit in the practice, especially if your second practice, you're hoping that your speed will be near the game speed, so you can maybe use some timing or some aid to that. But we've seen a lot of second ends in this event where teams have been heavy, having played good first ends. So I think the ice is still speeding up as we're taking the pebble off.
So typically, do you think there's a point where the speed would stop getting faster?
Yeah, we often used to think 3 stones down a track, and that track's up to speed, and it's going to stay like that until maybe towards the end of the game it fudges. We haven't seen any fudging of games because there's not enough stones played in this. But so 3 stones down a track. And it depends if they play down one side or another side. Sometimes they play all down one side, and that leaves a cold side, and you have to go again, so it's a new end.
Yeah, that's quite nice shot there. Again, a little bit heavy. They maybe were trying for that little rub off, and there are 3
behind the tee still.
Yeah, so, and Ewan did mention that. I thought that was a really insightful comment from him. He said that stones behind the tee, 1 good freeze, and the end's completely taken away from him.
And both hands are open here now, so.
They are persisting down this left-hand side of the sheet as we look at it.
This sheet was one-sided the last game, and maybe that's
the less
because you're not trying the other side, or you're not comfortable with the other side.
Yeah. This does look a little bit heavy. It is going to roll off a little bit. We'll just have a look at the front view here. I think that Adam can not quite see all the stones, just about over half. Would you say?
Yeah, no, he will see only half.
Molly,
there's a finish after the guard, but it looks like they're intending going down the other side.
coming down the in turn.
Just gone the body language there.
The clockwise rotation. And see here, perhaps we'll get a clue. Adam is standing on the right hand side of the shot as we look at it, so not sure if that's just a comfort thing.
No, there you go. They're going the other way. Now they're trying to face this yellow then, I think. Get fully to the face of it.
Yep, absolutely. They'll maybe just be playing back 8 weight.
And they'll need a bit of finish after it goes round the guard, and there is a big finish off this side, so
absolutely.
It's moving now.
See here, Adam's starting to help that stone. It's not quite finishing maybe as much as they would have expected, and high side in that isn't quite the result they wanted. There is a route in here on the other side for Duncan and Leanne.
Duncan's just thinking of freezing the blue they've played to protect his yellow, and if they make a play, they chips the blue out and they lie too. Then we'll maybe see the other side of the sheet come into play now.
Yeah, I think I'm always quite conscious in mixed doubles that I want to try both sides of the sheet quite early, so you're not relying on that final one heading down that path to do it.
Because of the format, because it's only 5 stones, and because it's a different person plays the next stone, you don't get the chance to really check the route to the button off both sides. As you would often see in a 4-man team, they might just deliberately set out to check that, depending on how aggressive the other team are.
Yep. Leanne not sweeping this one. It's slightly high of line in the minute. I'm not sure if it's going to finish. It's starting to come down now.
9-minute practice in a 4-man team makes a huge difference. You can really find out about your ice, both out to in and in to out. Whereas most of the time here they're focusing on the path to the button to try and win the hammer. So they don't necessarily see the in to out swing.
I think once
and the reluctance to play power play, I think, is a bit dependent on that. And we certainly had a lot of them struggle to bury. And you know, the vibes going round the competition that power play is tough on this ice.
That's a really good result there for Duncan. There's tough for...
He's just come in a little bit, but he's lying well. It's tough to move that yellow now. So at the moment, still looks on.
Well, one of the things that we talked about with Ewan when he joined us was the difference in a pre-game practice. In a 4-man team, you will normally have 6 people on the ice. You will have your 4 players, your alternate, and your team coach. Whereas in a mixed doubles game, particularly in a competition like this, not necessarily at board level, you only have 2 players on the ice, and that's a huge reduction in manpower.
And when you see Ewan's team, which is Ross White's team that played the World Junior, with Alan and Duncan as 5th man on the ice, there's a real process to the 9-minute practice. There's a real purpose to it. Finding out the speed of the ice, pairing the stones, checking you're happy with your stone matching. There's a whole lot goes into that 9 minutes.
That's a really good shot actually from Molly. She just got past that guard, and the angles are looking good for Blues here. Duncan and Leanne might be forced to this side that we talked about. Nobody has played down the right hand side of the sheet as we look at it. Leanne, of course, is playing the last stone. She played lead this year for Rebecca Morrison, made it to the World Juniors.
She played very well in the World Juniors, Leanne. A good series of games.
That was her highlight of this season.
Well, I'm not surprised, and obviously, they had they beat Canada, they beat China, but then it's mixed results in the middle of the week, and then change of lineups, and it was a real tough test for them, and first exposure to that level of competition, and having head coaches and coaches interfering. So tough learning process for them, and we just hope they come through that with a positive attitude and keep going, because they have a real future.
Absolutely. I think I heard there was a very meddlesome head coach out there.
Very, very difficult guy.
You see here Duncan standing on the left hand side of the sheet here. Do you just want to explain what he's doing on that side?
Well, he's trying to make sure he's going to sweep on the inside of the arc of the stone, so he's trying to reduce the early swing of the stone. You may see him switch depending on what line they've thrown, but he's trying to keep it off the guard at the moment, and then once it passes the guard, we may see him switch and direct it down into the head. There you go, he's switching now.
I looked to swing quite a lot for the weight.
Yeah, it was because it was certainly back 8 weight or more.
I think, Adam, there's... Just look at the front of the head here. You can see most of that blue stone, and he is eyeing it
we know
up.
it finishes. There's a possibility of chipping that yellow across. The blue will spring a bit. How far will the blue spring?
Just have a look to see what we can see of the forfeit. Obviously the players are in and amongst that. Yeah, so he has elected for a hit here. And again, this is a target to aim at. This is something we haven't seen so far in this game. It's a broom being held.
Yeah. And we'll have comments, but I think as a player I would prefer this. It's a real definite target to be focused on.
Yep.
Obviously you sacrifice a little bit of sweeping early probably.
Yeah. I think here there should be a pretty straightforward shot for one. If he hits this anywhere high, he should spring that yellow across.
I don't think the blue pokes through the hole. I think it jams on the other blue.
Okay,
I just wondered if it released into the hole and goes to the back yellow.
See, looks good here. He's sweeping it now. Molly's called him off. He is sweeping.
It's just a bit wide. Is he flicking it?
He's flicked it and looks like it has rested for one.
I think.
We do think that is a 1.
So he comes out with a hammer with a 1.
Not bad.
Not bad. We've seen big end scores, so that's probably not that significant in the scheme of things. Being forced to 1 would normally be something you didn't want to do, but so switch on hammer. See how Duncan in there and handle
it. We've talked several times about how crucial it is to get that first stone in, to get it. Where would be the ideal place, do you think?
Well, I think top 4 is ideal.
Top
button's probably good, certainly not beyond the tee line, but top 8's probably better than 2 deep, I think.
Yeah.
And not complete, top 8 sticking out, so you can make a play on that.
You need access.
You can make a play on that, but we've actually seen. I think we've seen quite a lot of just slightly heavy first stones, and that leads to everything behind the tee. And as Ewan was saying, that's not a strong position to be.
Now, this was the side that was moving a lot, and we can see it here.
Still is. It's going to go. It's going to come out the other side. I
don't think that Adam really does want to help this on. But maybe from a weight point of view.
That is so buried, it's really not usable now.
It's not really a good shot. We can see it has come to the top 8, which, as we said, from a weight point of view, is an acceptable outcome, but from a line point of view, really not.
Unless the guard moves at some point, it's going to be tough to bring that stone into play.
So we see Leanne just wrap another one round here?
I think she will. Even if she corner freezes that blue, it's not a disaster, as long as the angle's good. What's she playing? She's playing her out turn, Leanne's also a very positive release player. You'll see quite a lot of rotation on Leanne's stone, so they should run straight for a bit and then finish. Duncan's just cleaning at the moment, I think. Now he's going harder.
Yeah, he's going hard on it now.
And that is moving. Is it touching the guard?
Yeah, it is. So that has almost set up a more traditional setup. The corner guard, certainly a corner yellow guard. The thing here,
of them having a hammer, that's not a disaster.
No.
And that blue that was buried is now very much in play now, because the guard's moved.
Molly and Adam, of course, can't hit at this stage. Just have a look. You can see their see what they can see. There's air on both sides of that stone. We can see that we suddenly have a Swedish team, Swedish team playing at the back of the head.
They enjoyed playing against Rana's team at the junior, and they seemed to get on really well, the two teams, which was really nice to see actually. And they did a lot of kit swapping at the end of the week, so that was good to see. A big part of the thing is to enjoy playing your opponents and have a good talk to them after, and Rana's team would share a lot of their experiences with them.
Now I wonder here, they seem to have nominated a draw, but I'm not sure if that corner guard is blocking that draw.
Sorry, they're coming. Which way do you think they're coming?
Well, they tapped the forfeit, but I'm just not sure how they're going to get in there.
actually I like the blue stone that's just been played because it's the stagger. The yellow's pretty safe at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they can come round wide on the in turn, top 4.
Let's see, here comes Duncan, and he is playing.
He's trying to come through the hole. He's trying to come through the gap.
So he's maybe taking advantage of that corner guard that he does have. Makes sense. This will be our first opportunity to see that in to out. Oh, that is really moving.
So that has moved.
Oh, that must have picked
up, I think. Even Duncan doesn't throw them that soft. They'll kill me for that.
Yeah, there's lots of sweeping of the ice going on here. I think that's certainly
that
picked
team
up
all year, and you won't appreciate that remark. So I'll probably have to resign again.
Not again.
Again.
That's really unfortunate. Do you want to just explain, perhaps for those who maybe aren't familiar, what you mean by a pick?
Well, it generally means that the stone has caught some tiny little piece of debris on the ice. It could be a hair, it could be a bit of rubber off a kipper, it could be, something extraneous matter. It's really tough to know, and you sometimes don't find it. We used to, when we had hairbrushes and corn brooms, we used to be able to see the things that were. But sometimes we see stones just jump now, and you look underneath them, and there's nothing there, and it's weird. I don't know.
Could just be fresh.
The running band scenario that if anything interferes with the contact with the ice has a major effect on the stone.
I think Molly's just trying to move these ones.
Yes,
so that
and if she does, then they can get access to the yellow behind.
Yeah.
I like the shot, splitting off.
That's a
both
really nice
behind
shot.
Corners. Good shot.
We'll see here. Exactly. I think that's the key. That there is that straight raise.
There's probably a double on the Blues though. Yeah, as long as you don't nose hit it and take your own yellow out.
Yeah.
Remember, the yellows have the hammer here, so.
But again, we see. I think the key thing here is that all the Blues are in front of the team, in the top. Yeah. They're the ones that can be.
Yeah,
used.
they are still in. They are still, you can improve their position.
Yeah.
Once you go behind the tee, unless you're using it to somebody to catch your own stone, it's tough to improve them.
Looks like Duncan is going to play a double here, or certainly a hit and roll.
Do you think he's trying to go?
I think he's trying to come off the left.
Cut the ice a little bit. He's cut the ice a little bit there. Yeah. You think he is? I wonder if he's trying to
just hit and roll
and go to the right as we look at it, because that would move the double. But the risk is you just put it straight back onto the yellow.
Oh goodness, that's picked again. Oh wow, that is really, really unfortunate. Not sure what's happened there.
It's an extraordinary pick, that.
I think it picked pretty much immediately. It didn't even make it,
it's having a
down
look.
the ice.
There must be a.
Oh my goodness, there must be something. I think
It sometimes worries me that the ice is a little flat when this starts to happen. The pebbles maybe not as crisp. But the ice has been really good all weekend. We've seen very few pickups
that's the
till
first
this
pick
game.
I've seen. Yeah, it's the first pickup I've seen.
Maybe Duncan's not cleaning his stones.
Might not be. I think it's. I think probably there are 7 stones that the players can play with, and I would imagine that we'll see Duncan change certainly one of his stones.
Well, which one?
The one that picked up first, or the one that picked up immediately?
I'm not sure he will, because
it depends if there was something there.
They may have found something. If they found an explanation, it's extraordinary how it happens to 2 yellows
in a row. Yeah. So Molly is trying this.
This isn't far away. The pools. It's still good.
It's still it is a good result. The yellow is exposed. It's tough for.
Yeah, they can go round the yellow and right round wide on the yellow. It's good. This is a tough shot through the hole.
Yeah. I think you would probably need to play a hit and roll on one of these, or just quarter freeze as.
If you do that, there's no double on the yellows. If you get it across to either side, there's no doubles on the yellows. But you've got to go through the hole.
Which is difficult.
Which is tough because it's swinging big off the out turn. And they went through with a little bit of weight there.
This doesn't look like a lot of ice. I'm not sure if they just don't think it's going to for.
And the blues are not sitting that well to freeze. You know, you can easily chip the top blue and then
cut
lie
to Duncan,
open.
make sure he is cleaning his stones. Let's just have a look. There he goes. Maybe a little bit more vigorous
I've
than
never
usual.
seen him clean a stone that long, ever.
Yes,
He's still cleaning it. Duncan, you'll wear your glove out.
There we go.
Well, he's definitely cleaned that.
Yes, that is cleaned. So let's see. Let's see if the curse of the
Please
yellow
don't pick it up.
stones. Here he comes. Oh, okay. He's playing the.
He's playing.
Turn. Not quite. He must be playing the hit and roll. Yeah, on the ones that was the first. Oh my goodness. Is that well? Oh, he's really not happy because now that one hasn't picked up, and that's
Well, that was an in-turn, and we've seen that run pretty straight.
Yep.
But they haven't played that line.
No. And I think now
there's a fair bit amount of frustration in Duncan at the moment. So it just needs to.
I wouldn't blame him.
He just needs to. Because remember, even though you lose a 3 or a 4 here, it's not over, and they still have the last stone.
They do have the last stone. I think ideally the plan here for Adam and Molly would definitely be to remove that yellow, but I think to definitely roll away. If you roll away, there's very little. There's not a good way for them to draw in because of where those guards are in front.
When you split the front stone, you don't separate the guards enough to make them truly corners. They're actually blocking the draw line, the natural draw line on this ice.
And if you look from this angle, that we can see the stones in the house are staggered away from the centre line, which makes it even more difficult to draw in. So we'll see Adam.
What he doesn't want to do is nose hit. He'd be better to roll out.
Yes, a pick would probably be better. And Molly is sweeping this one. He's crossing face. Oh goodness, is he going to catch the guard? Oh, he's missed it.
He's missed it.
He has missed it.
Oh man alive, let's get out of jail.
What an end. What an end.
Right.
No, there's a fair bit of
chance
frustration.
of a 2 now, you know.
All of a sudden.
And it's maybe a good thing Leanne's playing this, because Duncan will be boiling, I imagine. And although it looks like he learned a lot at the juniors about how to deal with things, and you know, it's not what happens, it's how you deal with it, was part of one of the expressions we were using. And, so he's maybe parked all that. He's maybe just focused on his role here, get the sweep right. And Leanne's very unflappable. She's a really good temperament. Yeah. So she'll be certainly getting him back to focus on his next task.
I think the key for Adam and Molly is not to dwell on that, and to consider that they are one down. They do have the hammer. That's an acceptable place to be. This is still not a tricky draw. You see Duncan sweeping this down.
It's a good line at the moment.
It's look good.
It's a good line at the moment.
Coming into the house.
Sit down.
That looks like a good shot.
Sit
if it
down.
curls past this one.
Sit down. That's a good shot.
That.
So they've come out of that with a 2, and you know, Adam hits that and rolls away.
Yeah. Leanne has to make that.
She might well have made the draw, but it's a different draw when it's against 4 than when it's 4-2.
Absolutely.
Although the shot's the same, the pressure's different, the outcome. She's really good at that, just playing the shot on its merits. And she's had a lot of experience in other sports, very good athlete, Leanne. So she's had a lot of, you know,
Duncan, as we can see, obsessively cleaning. Obsessively cleaning this line.
At least he's learned the lesson.
Yes. I think you maybe do have to experience these things to
but not every game, you know.
Not 2 in a row.
You don't have to be a carryover to the rest of his career from one experience of that.
Maybe keep an eye and see how many times.
We're being a bit harsh. We may well have cleaned the other 2, but
they were very severe.
They were severe picks. I don't. Yeah, you wouldn't, because the player usually knows if it's on the stone from the start.
Yeah.
You know, they can feel it.
There normally is a score in the ice as well.
Well, it's strange that.
See them sweeping. This looks like a really good weight. Leanne seems to have really found her weight here. I think she's led all year. She's been really solid all year. And remembering that Leeds sometimes gets left with the less than matched stones if there's a problem. She's performed really well. Do you think in a match stone situation in mixed doubles, how do you think that translates? We haven't really touched on that.
Well, it's interesting because you don't. Obviously, the middle order player plays 3 in a row, but the first and fifth stones are
so critical.
Yeah, and
it's just heavy.
The 5-minute practice does not give them an opportunity to stone match.
No.
And I presume in an Olympic mixed doubles or a world mixed doubles, you're allowed to stone match the night before.
Yes.
Like standard play.
Yes.
And that could be pretty crucial, I think.
Yes.
And then.
And that heavy draw from Adam, maybe a carryover from the previous end. He may still be not particularly pleased. And I think that's the tough thing about playing 1 and 5 is that immediately you have to go back.
See, Duncan's just very light.
Yeah, he doesn't look very happy. Understandably so.
Well, the real test is you have got to get over what's happened, because it shouldn't affect this stone. If you can, your body doesn't know that you're angry unless your brain tells it.
I like that. Adam will want to nurse this one in. If they can get one locked into the button, that would be a good chance for them. Oh, Molly calling her on. It does seem to be moving quite harshly here. If he can get past, he should be good, and he is by. As well swept, and if it does finish up here, they should be good, and it's just going to chip off.
Ooh. That yellow sat quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big target.
Yeah, and Duncan has come off again. He didn't spy whether he cleaned the stone that time. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He must be close because Leanne's ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, and it's starting to move now. It seems to move on the tram line, but as soon as it hits the tram line, just straighten up a little bit.
If they throw it well, it should travel pretty straight for 2/3 and then just get to the breaking point. And on this ice, there is a big breaking point because once it starts to go and the weight comes off, it moves.
There is an opportunity here just to check in. Sorry, not Leanne, Molly. So that will be Molly and Adam have lost their first 2 games in this group session. They were a little bit disappointed, but I think they've bounced back quite well here. They're playing now the right-hand side of the sheet. They're playing the clockwise rotation. Does that surprise you at all?
No, it doesn't. I'm actually quite surprised it wasn't played earlier.
Okay.
And it looks a natural backing to come to.
This is way over curling. They just don't know the ice at all.
It's just that big swing inside.
But moving that guard has pretty much blocked that
side. But if they put a yellow in top button, top 4,
see, Duncan has just cleaned his stone.
You're going to have it. Blues are going to struggle to get anything in.
Now this is interesting. This happened in the last game with Ryan and Kirsty, that neither player was actually up at the head to see what had happened, and I personally I don't like that at all. I think that's really difficult to be able to call an effective shot.
Well, he's sticking to the same hand, and I don't, as you say, they haven't had a close look at this.
No.
And there is maybe a hole to come through, but I think you over curl on this hole.
Yeah. Looks quite heavy. Is it just going to sit down a little? Oh, he's just passed. He's hit and rolled in, and that's a really good result.
It is a good result. There is a way that there is a possibility of getting to the button on the other hand, but you're going to have to play it.
You can see Molly is coming to the other hand, so we'll just watch this stone as it travels down to maybe see if there is a more.
You'd look at that and think, oh, there's a really easy route to that. But look at the movement now.
Really moving. I'm surprised Adams and goodness.
It's just going sideways.
My goodness.
Now Duncan and Lennon trying to go. Having just seen that, they're trying to go right round that.
Yeah.
Duncan will be given nice on the other sheet.
I was going to say, you can
as long as he's got 1 foot on his sheet, he's
you
okay.
can see him marching up the sideline.
And this is where you have to believe it's going to pull, and you cannot start it. So positive release, good rotation, hold the line for as long as you can, and then let it finish.
And this again we'd referred to missing 2 in a row, and looking at that house.
It's funny how this ends. You know, they look like pushing the big end the last end. Now they look like losing the big end.
Leanne line up in the hack. So we'll just look at this delivery and see how wide she does slide, because we are expecting to be right to the edge of the sheet.
Just try and see how she releases it. Does she back it up? Does she rotate it well? Yeah. So that should run straight for a bit, even on this big swing. Duncan's on it already though.
You can see it moving. That is moving big. My goodness, that is a lot of swing.
It's you know, they're just not used to that level of swing, and even though you know the ice is out there, it's really tough to throw it out there.
To force yourself.
To force yourself
really,
because it's just something you're not used to.
Yeah.
And that's an excessive swing possible, but it's probably playable.
I think the thing they're probably finding the hardest is that it's so different to the other side. That does add to the difficulty. We look here, and Adam and Molly are playing a run back on this red. Just flick to the other view. You can see that Adam can see most of the stone. I think this is a damage limitation exercise, but on the swingy side, that does look like not a lot of ice. Well,
I can't think he'll hit the object stone.
We'll look to see a slide to see if he
unless he's going to absolutely rocket this down.
Let's find out. Maybe take up some frustration. There's a bit of
speed
speed
over,
wobble.
so I'm assuming he's rocketing it down.
Yeah. Let's see how
released it back.
That is going to overcurl nonetheless.
Oh, it's chipped another yellow.
The yellow didn't quite come in, so that is a steal of 3.
Yeah, the big swings proving tough to handle.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the previous game actually. With Ryan and Kirsty, they had the same difficulty.
I think even with the at 5-1 down, I don't think that's by no means is the game over. We saw
no, it's not.
So his brother Andrew take a 4.
The last end they were nearly scoring.
Yeah. 3-4.
Yeah. If they'd taken out the single yellow, Leanne was playing a draw against 4.
Maybe putting the cat amongst the pigeons, but his brother scored 2 4s today, so
don't tell him that.
bragging rights.
So,
would you consider a power play at this stage if you were Molly and Adam?
I'd have said, if you asked me that 3 games ago, I'd have said for sure. But having seen how difficult it is to make a power play on this, and also how you can score a 4 without worrying about the power play, I think I would be going conventional as they are.
Okay.
For this end.
We can watch Leanne's delivery, a really nice smooth slide.
Shot. If Leanne gets this top 4, and 3 half buried.
See this here really moving, and that is this side.
Same side.
Duncan is working it. I'm surprised they've taken this side. Does Leanne have a preference for the out turn? He's just got it by, but even so, it does look like it's going to overcurl.
Pretty effective.
That is a pretty good result.
Tangentially rub.
Yes.
That's a good expression.
Oh, a tangential rub. Absolutely. And that's a pretty ideal spot if you were going to walk down and place it there. Never mind how they. Having been involved with Leanne as a head coach, do you think there is a preference for the out turn from her?
I think. I don't know. She's pretty solid both hands. She prefers the out turn.
Okay.
I have never asked her that, but just having worked with her technically.
Yeah. Adam there came a little bit deep and did push his own stone through to the back of the 12 foot. He does lie shot though. I guess that is a positive you can take from that. And again we see on this side that there's swinging. Leanne's doing her best to hold it. Is she going to get by? They do. And they're going to knock their own stone eventually into shot position.
Okay. You think they have to use the other hand?
Yeah, I really don't understand why they aren't.
It's a bit straighter, it's a bit easier to control.
Yep.
But I don't think they've twigged that or
I don't know if they're fixated with the outturn, and maybe
it's amazing often you'll follow the opposition.
I was about to say, yeah.
Follow the opposition.
Well, they did it, so yeah.
You get sucked in. You just see the shot that. Here we go, and this is going the other way.
This is moving a lot. It will straighten up here, as we see. Duncan is in the way of everything, unfortunately. She has corner frozen that top yellow, which, not a bad shot.
No, I'm okay.
Let's see. It's 3 each. So they could have hit there. I think on this swingy ice.
I think they were probably trying to check in off the back yellow.
Yeah, and maybe the weight just wasn't quite there.
They can still use that blue stone, push the yellow through, and they could be attempting to check in again and get that as option B.
Yeah. Not quite sure what the call is here from Duncan and Leanne. What would you consider? They're coming
down the right hand side.
They're coming down here. And this is the really swingy hand again. So we'll see how Leanne tries to hold it. She is on it right away. She's sweeping hard. She might be regretting wearing the long sleeve top tonight rather than the short.
He's round.
Let's see.
He's moving the blue, I think.
He's moving the blue. That's pretty good result. Let's see.
Now,
there is probably
the yellows are lined up.
Yep. There is a double on.
Nose hit here. Takes it.
Would it take?
Maybe it takes the yellow over the top of the other yellow. It might take 3.
We've got some Swedes in the way, so we can't see the yellow stones. Do you think they feel at home on the sheet because there's yellow and blue stones?
I'm going to ignore that. Stupid remark. So let's see. Nose hit. Big weight nose hit. All 3 yellows maybe go, do they?
And Molly plays 3rd for her women's team, is that?
She played that. She started to play. She goes in the head and she was playing second stones later in the season.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they just had a wee tweak.
Wee tweak outside. We'll see this stone come in. It might just
She's
finish.
Close.
She does
well
move.
Played.
Well played, Molly Keane. That has moved, if we can see,
that
has moved 3 blues. Well spaced throughout the house, I would say.
Pretty well spaced. Duncan's going to have to play a flop.
Yeah, which is tricky.
It is tricky.
Look here, there's some
going to
really
have to play
nice
a flop on the big swinging ice. This is really hard to judge.
Some really, I think, do you want to explain just why the left-hand side of the sheet is set up so well with that stagger going on?
Well, because it's very hard to play a stone down the left-hand side and end up closer to the centre than any stone you move. You're probably going to spring out, which means your stone's vulnerable. He's got to play this flop on the right-hand side. The difficulty of that is this is the big swinging hand. I can actually see him going between those 2 blues that we're looking at.
Goodness me, yeah. See, Duncan's jumped up to sweep now, relegating Leanne.
It's moving now.
It's really moving
now. It's moving huge.
It looks like it's going to clip. Let's see.
And it goes between the yellows. I'm a prophet.
If you do say so yourself.
I do. No, it's actually finished in a good place because it's perfect weight.
Yes, that was, and that's the first time we've seen a draw manage that well on that side. So maybe they're just
now look at the ice they've taken here. They've taken 3/4 of the white ice, so they must be playing tap at this.
Yeah, I think they have to.
And they have to believe this is going to swing too. I think
it will.
So they're playing hack weight, you think, Owen, which is enough weight to literally get to where you normally kick off from.
Yeah, I think a back line hack weight.
Well, I think it's got to be more
than that, given
line.
the ice they've taken.
I think it has to be.
You said they were gesturing just.
And this is where you don't have the advantage of 2 sweepers to hold it. You know, you can if you max ice this with a 4-man team. You would take a little less and just use your sweepers to hold it, and then power it down the hill at the end.
We'll see Adam coming into shot just
no brush
now.
To play a
sweeping
critical
now.
stone.
It is going to move really quite large. Oh, and that's away. That is gone.
That must have picked up. Well, that's 2-1 in pickups. But some are really crucial, you know. Really crucial stones.
Goodness me. That is really quite extraordinary.
So interesting, this is the end sheet that we're playing on, isn't it?
Yeah.
We often look around and try to blame, you know, ventilation systems and things that might be blowing.
Confetti falling from the ceiling.
I don't think there's been any weddings in the building, but
no. Not that I'm aware of.
No. But there's something.
There's
something going on here.
Have you proposed recently?
Pardon?
To try and get a wedding going on. Although that's actually something we haven't touched on, is the prospect of playing mixed doubles with your wife.
Well, there are some competitions playing remarkably over more than one season.
More than one game.
Although I believe Lee and Judith have changed their order, that may cause a little domestic conflict.
A little ruction. Of course, Judith and Lee McCleary, one of Scotland's finest mixed doubles teams.
Good pair, they are, and they've had a good season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perhaps not what they were the only semi-finals of the junior or the mixed doubles. Sorry, the junior mixed doubles. They're not quite at that age anymore. Leanne coming in the south turn side. Let's see if Duncan can hold it as well as he held his own. And Leanne's calling him on now, and now is the big movement. We see the big movement. He really needs to be sweeping that all the way. I'm not sure why he was off it. If he just rubs off, this will make it quite difficult for them to come down. Now the question is, has he left a double?
He was probably playing that with a guard in mind, wasn't he? You know, and actually he's a little fortunate that he's chipped off the blue because he's protected it,
Adam has indicated that this double, do you think this slash double is...
It's a very clever use of the mouse. Have you just worked out how to do that?
Well, no, only you can see that.
Oh. I thought
no, I'm not that clever. We haven't got a pen to draw with for it.
This is there. You lose one. Well, actually, the blue maybe springs to the outside yellow, actually. And I don't know where the middle yellow does it go out past the back blue?
Oh, yeah, because it will spin.
It'll spin
towards the right-hand side of the house, but you can still score 1,
maybe 2, maybe 2. The shooter might lie.
I think they do have to try this, and Adam has thrown big weight again, and he has backed it up. We'll see if that is starting to take the big swing now, and it's close. It's across the top of it, and that is a steal of 1 for yellow.
That's a tough break. Molly Stone was crucial there, and to get a pick on that, it does spoil the whole thing, because they played a good end up to that point, and if they make that shot, they're asking a very tough question.
Absolutely. So I'll ask the question I asked in the last end. Do you think we'll see a power play in this end? Even just to change things up? Do you think taking the swinging hand?
I think it would be a good call. But Duncan's trying to preempt that by quickly placing the stones in the middle.
That was my top tip.
He's been listening to you. You're probably listening to the previous broadcast thinking,
oh yeah, avidly.
Now here Adam's charging down.
He's just charging down to help.
To help.
How kind. How kind.
So they've gone conventional.
Gonna get a chance to see Leanne slide again. She is coming on the out turn again, it seems. A little bit leading with the right shoulder there.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
What issues could that cause?
It gives you a slightly false view of where you're actually sliding, and you can often think you're sliding tight, and then you end up popping them back a little bit, which is actually pretty. Apart from weight, that's a good line. Just a little bit heavy.
It is a good line. The thing that it does do is open up the house a little bit.
Another slight worry about that is with the Blues having the last stone here. That's a big scoring area.
Absolutely.
If they chip this yellow, I quite like chipping this yellow now, and keeping a big score area.
So chip and roll away.
Chip and roll away.
Yeah.
You can't take it out, obviously.
Yeah. But you can move it to the back.
You can move
12.
it.
Yeah.
Because if everything's in the forefoot, it's tough to score more than one.
Absolutely. Well, that goes back to what Ewan told us earlier, that his best defence is having two in the forefoot. Yeah.
Because it's tough to make the scoring area.
And as you had said as well, if there's two in the button, then you're not going to score there. Is this going to overcurl?
Comes and chips it.
Goodness. That's just frozen. That really sat down. I was quite surprised at that. It's very good result though.
Yellow freeze on top of that. We've got a small score area.
Yep.
Until something gets thundered in.
Yep.
Or maybe we have to take the guard off at some point. Because Blues have to score here.
We've seen a reluctance to.
Blues have to score here.
Yeah,
and actually, if the guard wasn't there, that'd be a good setup for Blues.
Yep. Looks like Duncan is
taking
going
the guard
to
out.
move the guard
This
for
is
them.
a disaster.
A disaster from
disaster
Duncan.
from D. McFadgen. It's a DD.
Although again, the scene
This is this narrow.
yes
port
that we
we've
saw.
seen, and it's
Yeah,
tough to play through
it's
that.
really hard. Molly's going to have to play some pretty firm weight here. If she's going to.
I think you maybe move the yellow now, though, do you?
Well, I don't see why not.
I think because you might not get a chance to move it if you don't move it now.
Yep.
So nose hit's good.
Yep. Make your
Nose hit good. Check one of them across behind the corners good. Check it even wide is good.
Yeah. See here, this seems to be draw weight, which I'm quite surprised at, to be honest. See Adam sweeping this in. Gets past. Oh, it doesn't.
I don't quite follow that. Because you've now protected the centre. The yellow freezes.
Yeah.
I don't see how you're scoring. You need a big end here. You need to score.
Yeah.
You need to score and
You need to create that space to allow you to score.
I think
It's
there's
just
a bit.
haven't.
That would have been a bit.
It's like Duncan is going to run something back here. A little bit of a speed wobble there and a bit of an extension. See how this one runs. And it does move at the end, and that's a very good result. He does
I think
move
that looks
to.
surprising. He called that.
Yeah.
He could have played the freeze in there, but
Yeah.
they've gone back to conventional thinking. We are
six
five
spot up. Yeah.
Where's the danger? He's left one of his own at the back ring.
Yeah. But now, yellow can or blue, sorry, can draw around the corner guards, and then that's a difficult position for.
Where that
Duncan.
blue is, if they come half round the corner.
Oh, I'm really surprised at this call. They are coming the opposite way than I would have expected. Maybe the other side, the draw is so uncontrollable.
You might get a half-half.
Yeah, that's true.
On your back blue here now.
This does look heavy though. Yeah, I'm getting ready to sweep it out of the house. This does just come right back, and they have unfortunately left a double for their opposition.
Donkey got a stone left, yeah, because I think he'll see most of that. I think he'll be, having hit with the worst, I think he'll hit with this.
So they're having a chat.
He's shouting down. Did he clean it? Did he clean it?
He did clean it.
Yeah, he's going for the double again. That makes logical sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Middle stone.
But they could have been in the position.
Slightly tight, pops it slightly on this swing, should hold it.
See it come down here. That is wide. He's not happy there. He's picked the back one.
I think he just slid a little tight and angled that, and then it just runs straight.
Again, we'll see what the call is here for.
Well, now I think you come the same way again.
Yeah, having done it once.
Because that blue's half a stone behind
further. Yeah.
Come on top four, half in.
Do you think top four? Would you want to be a little bit higher?
Yeah, because anything on top of yours beats the back one. But if you're half in, it's tough for them to corner freeze. Stones away.
Corner freeze is obviously tricky. If you just chap off, then they hit for 3.
Out, then you hit for 3.
And then 6-4.
Looks wide.
Does look wide.
Finishes. The weight looks good. If it finishes, it
that
needs
looks like
to
it's
finish.
back it up a little, which is
finish.
very strange. I
think Leanne will be hitting.
Good. It's good weight control though from Molly, which something she probably will be pleased at. There's a front to back double, as you call it.
Front to back double.
Front to back double.
Is that not what you call it?
No.
What do you call it?
I don't know. Just a double.
Well,
I know what you mean, as opposed
because you're actually hitting blue onto blue rather than the shooter
Yeah.
going to go front to back. Well, at least we've increased your vocabulary if nothing else this weekend.
Transcendental. Not transcendental. Is that what it was? With tangential. Transcendental. Oops. We'll see. I think this is the first hit that Leanne has played.
Yeah.
Well, she's a solid hitter. She's
solid
a lead,
hitter.
so
she's got a very positive release, which shows they don't need a lot of ice.
Okay, well, we'll see.
And it's kind of like the line Donkey just played. So.
Yep. Well, we'll see how this one goes. You just talk us through her slide.
So just inside the line, back onto it. Very like Duncan's throw.
Yeah.
It won't pull much. It won't pull much.
And Duncan is trying to finish it. That again looked like it backed up a little.
Yeah, probably just angled at release.
Yeah.
And then it runs down that line.
And Adam and Molly are cleaning this bath, getting ready for their draw for 2.
Draw for 2.
And 6-3. That's
well, it's not over.
No.
And
6th end.
Well, do you think Donkey will use the power play now?
Well, what do you think his kind of temperament is like from an aggression point of view? Is he an aggressive curler, or
Oh
is
yeah,
he more
yeah. You
defensive?
know, Callum and Duncan together. You know, if you want to watch the Super League, I mean, you'd be pulling your hair out. But they're trying things out in the Super League, which is great to see, and it's nice to see young guys try to.
See Leanne looking at the scoreboard. She's perhaps working out whether or not they want to take the power play. The straw does look a little heavy.
We've got a little rub, I think.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
That's
good.
Perfect.
That's a 2. I'm pleased to see that after Molly's pick up then before. I think that's a better reflection of the game.
I think so, yeah. I think that they probably would have been frustrated by that. There have been a few things that haven't quite gone their way, a few almost chances, and I think that's mixed doubles sometimes.
Yes, that's mixed doubles on a sheet like this with one big swinging hand, and you know, and you don't see nearly so many stones. You know, there's far fewer stones per end, and 2 less people to watch the lines and things. So just picking up all the information on the sheet is a bit harder, especially for youngsters when they're just learning the thing.
And then they freely admit they haven't played this very long.
So power play called.
Power play called, which is very exciting. I wonder. I think
that's a good call. I like this call, so that you're up and you want to go further up.
Well, this is the first time that they've had hammers since the 2nd end, so that does show some intent from them. See what.
So
Adam,
let's just see.
Adam
Exactly. This
play.
first stone kind of tells you what they're planning.
Looks like they're going for the corner freeze. Would you consider putting the centre guard?
I would have.
Yeah.
I think that's the first stone I'd have played. You would still leave you this shot if you want it, but I would have played the centre guard. They need to steal back here.
Again, they're not quite getting the line right, but it's finishing.
It's just sitting off the stone, isn't it? It just isn't.
Cut to the front view, you can see that you can get past that stone.
You can check in too now, which as long as they don't over ice this, rolling out left is okay, but they don't want to hit high.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't hit it out yet.
Yeah.
An opportunity to split the rings, maybe.
True, I think they probably will want to move this one, even if it's just to the back, or potentially even freeze it. I think my inclination would be to move it.
That finish, it is finishing.
It's starting to move now.
You can't take it out.
Let's see. How far is it going to move?
Pretty good shot. Very good shot.
If it's, now the question is whether it's shot stone. I don't think the blue is shot stone. It certainly looks like it's out counting the pre-positioned stone, which is of course half
it
the
is. It's either.
But
I think it's maybe second, is it?
Interesting to see. And of course Molly still can't hit, which is the difficult thing.
Once there's 5 stones in vision, how's it you put it?
You have 5 fingers. That means you can form a fist and hit.
That's marvellous. Marvellous.
I told Lisa Davey that before her game. She thought, "Oh, that's great." She goes, "I'm gonna put the fist up at the camera," and she never took a power play. She never hit. And that's come up short, which really is not the side
Not
to
ideal.
err.
Not ideal. Because I actually think they can play on the yellow. Just about, actually. It's hanging off there, so it's
They're
tough
having a
to,
bit of a
it's tough
chat
to
about
chat
this.
the yellow in.
Looks like, just from the side that Leanne's on, they may well be splitting the rings, but it might just be a comfort factor of where she's sweeping. And that seems to be the case. Do you think they can get right to this back?
Well, that's
blue
the thing,
and
because it's
just
so
tap?
straight in here, they're almost having to sweep it to finish it. But I think they're thinking they can chip the yellow, they get to the blue.
Looks okay if they're past that yellow. That's really.
It's actually run back there.
I wondered for a second if she touched it, because it really did. She's having a bit of a conversation with that one, but there were a couple down that path that I suspected had.
Something maybe
fallen
did
back,
happen. You're maybe right,
but it does look that there is a bit of a chat happening. So
maybe they're just saying, "Look at that bit of ice."
Potentially, Molly is probably going to play a hit here.
This is tough to know what it's going to do, isn't it? You have to see what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And now that when they're actually sitting back at the end of the travel, it's really tough to judge this.
Looking here at
and
this
that was
house,
a wider line away.
Let's see. Maybe I'll just switch to this view so we can see if it does in fact fall back. It's looking nice out here, curling all the way. So that was nice.
That was okay.
I'm not sure.
Get to the 4-foot line.
And the unfortunate thing about that, though, I'm not sure I like that call, just because there looks to be certainly one yellow that is out counting this back blue. It's hard to tell who's shot here. But perhaps the call initially was a freeze, and once they knew what it was, they were then going to tap it out. But
It's tough to see that top yellow being moved.
Yeah.
Because even if it is moved, it sticks on the other yellow, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure you can even get to the edge of it the way the ice is running.
But that's why it was such a great shot from Leanne. It was Leanne, wasn't it? Or are we going to give Duncan some credit? Either way, it was Leanne sweeping then if it was Duncan. Duncan is away. See here from this camera angle and what path this is going to take. They look like they're splitting the rings at this stage, which I think is a really sensible call. Make sure of 2 or 3 and then move on.
Yeah, I would. I know I was suggesting they play this earlier in the end when they actually played the blue chap back.
Yep.
Which is, and that's the yellow stone that chapped up. That's the control stone in the end now.
The interesting thing here is that when splitting the rings in a power play, I've always thought that you do need to draw to behind the tee to not allow your opponent a hit and roll behind the corner guard that's there.
Yeah.
And they have left that. Adam now is giving ice for Molly. We'll see if this proves more effective from an aiming point of view.
the actual yellow on the tee line actually could come into play now, because this can roll across and still be shot. And you're right about the splitting the rings. That had to be deeper.
Yeah. I wonder if Leanne maybe was just a little bit cautious with that, didn't want to take it too far.
It's kind of onto a fresh line too. It's a line we haven't played a lot. They don't want to sweep it early in case they oversweep
this is sweeping.
And
this is curling a lot
and missing.
It's gone. That wasn't a very... Oh goodness.
And the hack has just had a very narrow escape.
Yeah. I think it's the swift moving of Adam. And now again, this is where do you go if you're yellow? Where do you think? Because that my worry is that hit and roll is on again, and they're probably going to play it.
Pointing that out, actually.
Yeah. But even if you move it, it's
still weaving that.
So do you want to do it yourself?
Or you come up on top of that yellow, so you're just top 12. They can't then play that shot.
Just to create a steeper angle, you mean?
Almost guard your yellow so they can't play the run across.
So if you ended up...
Because you're lying to exactly there.
Yeah. So the top 12 are looking...
Makes it tough to roll in. The only thing is, can they draw around everything then? And I'm not sure they can.
Well, they could come,
I don't think they can draw to the blues easily. They could draw the other way, round the two yellows that you create if you decide to guard this. And maybe that...
This is an interesting decision here. See what Duncan does. He's coming on his in-turn. We'll see.
So he's trying to make a play on this yellow that stops them playing the hit and roll.
Yeah, seems to be. And it's starting to curl now. Well, Duncan doesn't look very happy. It's chipped and rolled off, and I think that's...
The double and roll's still there.
Decent result. You could, I think the double and roll is there. We'll see. Adam did miss a hit down this line in the second end, sorry. And of course, he's now taking it the opposite hand to Molly. Do you think that's a good idea, or do they need to learn from what they've done?
I think this is a more natural hand to play the roll.
Okay.
Because it's a half stone double. Do you think? It's a hit and roll.
It's a hit and roll. I don't think they're going for the double.
So it's maybe a little.
Because if they do get in behind the yellows, I really don't think there's a way for them to be moved.
No, there isn't.
Adams away. See how this stone curls. Coming down this line, needs to curl a bit more, and it's right past everything, I think. Goodness. That's 2 misses in a row, which, as we've talked about, is particularly costly.
Quite big weight.
Yeah. Looks that yellow are certainly sitting 2. Difficult to tell after that.
Yeah, so they're
certainly going to be a 3 if not
looks
more.
Like paying off.
Yep.
But not quite in the way we expected.
Well, no, and if they do score 4, we may see handshakes here.
10-3, I think we probably will.
Yeah. See Leanne here. I think she's had a really solid game, Leanne. She's had her line perfectly. If her weight hasn't sometimes perhaps been there, but just to update you on the rest of the games. So far, Ross White has started well against Max Moody. They were 6-0 up. Kinnear is 5-1 up over Maxwell.
How many ends have they played?
3 each. These scores are a little behind. And Stuart and Bryce McMillan is 2-1 to Stuart. You can see them sweeping that in, and that was quite a casual sweep for where it ended up.
And you're correct, we see handshakes. So
not quite sure if that's 3 or
3
4.
or 4, it doesn't matter now.
But that is, so what do you think the takeaways from that game are, David?
I think it was the two-sided nature of the sheet really and whether they chose to play the really swingy side, whether that was a good choice.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really registered with them that it might have been easier to play the other side, because they seem to choose the hand they prefer rather than the hand the ice would allow.
Yeah.
I think would be my comment.
Yeah, and I think they perhaps were drawn into playing following each other repeatedly rather than as you say, perhaps choosing the most appropriate.
It's because we're sitting in the booth and because we're not sitting looking at the sheet. I find it a bit disorientated, which way they're going. But I think there's an easier side to play that sheet. And if you're going to play the other side, you have to really believe how much ice you have to take, and that caught both of them out a little bit. But I think Leanne and Duncan handled that a little better weight control.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's certainly been a long day. We've had six games.
You've had a full day. I mean, I'm only part time.
Only part time. Only 5 of 6. But no, I've had a really enjoyable day, I think, and I hope you've all enjoyed this film. Thank you for joining me, David.
Pleasure. I enjoyed trying to commentate on mixed doubles for the first time.
Absolutely, have you learnt a lot?
It's challenging. It's a very different mindset of game.
Yeah.
And the wee nuances of the rules don't come instinctively yet.
Yeah.
And it's something you have to get better at. So.
Yeah. I hope you'll take a lot into the academy program about.
We're going to have to build it in. I think the game's still developing about how we'll actually what rules will be and what. But it's churlish for me not to like it just because of that. So and we need to, and I think it's also a very good aid for developing skills.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we build it in and maybe use it as part of our practice drills and then arrange more competitions, more opportunities to play it.
Absolutely.
Because some of these kids might end up being specialist mixed doubles players. I think they could evolve to that you're one discipline or the other, and especially if you're going to go to Olympic level.
Yeah.
You may well be playing one discipline exclusively, perhaps. And be funded to do that. The way the British programme runs, athlete performance grants are based on mixed doubles and on 4-man play, but they're very separate things.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your thoughts, and thank you for joining me. As I say, here we've seen quite a convincing win from McFadden Mackenzie, although it was a competitive game against Karen and Keane. And that draws to a close the first day of play here at the Scottish Curling Junior Mixed Doubles. There will be 4 more sessions tomorrow, which will be broadcast. And then we will have our quarterfinals, semi-finals, and ultimately the final on Sunday. So I look forward to you joining us then. Have a good night.